South Africa, a land of breathtaking beauty, a land where the soil hides gold, diamonds, and stories of unimaginable strength. But this paradise was not always peaceful. For centuries, it was a battlefield of kingdoms and empires, of invaders and visionaries. And yet, through every storm, South Africa rose. This is the story of a nation that turned pain into power and changed the world forever. Long before European ships touched African shores, this land was home to the San and Khoisan peoples, hunter-gatherers whose rock paintings still whisper stories on cave walls. By the 13th century, mighty kingdoms emerged. The Mapungubwe and Great Zimbabwe empires traded gold and ivory with distant lands, building sophisticated societies. In the southeast, the Zulu kingdom, under leaders like Shaka Zulu, built an empire feared and respected across Africa. South Africa was not a dark continent, it was thriving, powerful, and deeply connected to the world. But everything changed in 1652. Dutch settlers, known as the Boers, arrived at the Cape of Good Hope. At first, it was just a refreshment station for trade ships, but greed quickly grew. Indigenous land was taken, and entire communities were displaced. In the 1800s, the British Empire followed, clashing with the Dutch settlers in the brutal Anglo-Boer Wars. Diamonds were discovered in Kimberley, gold in Johannesburg, and suddenly South Africa became one of the most desired lands in the world. But this wealth came at a devastating price, and the seeds of racial division were planted. By 1948, racial segregation was written into law. Apartheid was born. Black South Africans were forced into separate schools, separate buses, separate neighborhoods. They were stripped of their land, their rights, and their dignity. Families were torn apart. Children grew up in poverty while their parents worked in dangerous mines and factories. Resistance was met with bullets. The Sharpeville massacre in 1960 and the Soweto uprising in 1976 became turning points, moments when the world finally turned its eyes to South Africa's suffering. But oppression could not silence a nation's spirit. Brave leaders rose from the ashes. Nelson Mandela, locked away for 27 years, became a symbol of hope. Desmond Tutu, Steve Biko, and countless unnamed heroes risked their lives for freedom. International pressure grew. Sanctions were imposed, voices from around the globe called for change. And slowly, after decades of struggle, apartheid began to crumble. In 1994, the unthinkable happened. South Africa held its first democratic election. Nelson Mandela became the nation's first black president, and apartheid officially ended. Tears of joy replaced tears of pain as a new chapter began. Mandela called South Africa the Rainbow Nation, a land where diversity could finally be celebrated. But the scars of history run deep, and the journey to healing continues. South Africa's story is one of courage, survival, and transformation. From ancient kingdoms to colonial conquest, from apartheid's darkness to freedom's light, this land has cried and risen. The Rainbow Nation is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can bloom, and a nation can rise stronger than ever. If you found this story powerful, subscribe for more untold histories of Africa, and let's keep these voices alive.